Hey, how's it going, guys? Yelling and screaming. We're at the end of the NFL season, Sean. This is it.
This is it. Regular season's done. Time for us to really get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, there's still a lot of scenarios here. I don't think there's more teams still in play than there normally is week 18. So I don't know if it's just because it's been teams I've been kind of following, but it feels like there's a lot that can happen this week.
There's a few things that have happened. Honestly, in previous years, I've seen a lot more teams on the bubble. Some teams that needed like 4 or 5 teams to loss and tie to get a win, and a win in order for them to get in. This year, it feels like there's only a couple of teams that are on the bubble. A couple of teams that can move around and switch a couple spots, but overall, it actually is a lot tighter than I've seen in previous years, at least from what I've been observing.
Yeah, real high level. We'll get into it on the individual games, but essentially, three teams battling for the last spot in the AFC, two teams battling for end up being the 4 seed in the NFC.
Mhm.
So the game's worth watching, but there's also a few in here that are gonna suck.
Oh, don't forget the most important game. Is going to be a game that honestly is a great way to close out the season. So I'm super excited about that. That's definitely going to be my game of the week. But we'll get into that in a bit.
Well, let's start off with Saturday. Saturday is a AFC North Saturday. I can't help but think that the league had something to do with this for Hard Knocks. Uh, it's too convenient.
Um, I mean, I guess so. Realistically, it's super weird to end up in this situation. But I like the way that this is set up to give both of those teams to have the divisional games 2 weeks in a row. And weird enough, can end up with a team like the Bengals making it, and so you end up with 3 teams from this division making it in the playoffs, which would be super. That was not what we expecting at the beginning of the season. I know people talk about me and you specifically talked about the Steelers, and I'm pretty certain that I won that bet on the Steelers. But
Yeah.
it's been a really good season for the Ravens and the Steelers. Ravens, doing what we expected from them. Probably had a few disappointing losses, some tight games. Lost to the Raiders. Felt like that they should be one of those perennial playoff teams, and here they are every year. Here they are again. Lamar doing MVP quality things out there on the field. So and picking up Derrick Henry, we expected to have a good season this year. Steelers, we talked about it. I looked at the division. I thought the Steelers had a chance. Were playing really well early on, and here we are, and with the chance for them to clinch the division at this point. And then Bengals, they had obviously the most high-powered offense in the NFL in contrast to their defense. So watching them score a bunch of points in games and then lose out every week was kind of it was definitely a shock. I thought they would pull out maybe a few of those games, but here we are, end of the season. They got a chance to win if a few other teams make some mistakes. So that's what football's all about. We never really know what's going to happen from week to week, and it's great to see that the NFL finally got us. This might be, in my opinion, one of the best Week 18s that I've ever seen.
Yeah, Bengals need to win, and then they need some help. Um, Help that might not be coming just based on where some other teams are positioned. But that's why you play the games. You never really know. Uh, the Browns are going to play, I don't know, probably some JUCO kid at quarterback this game. I don't think it really matters. Bengals Steelers is one to watch for sure. That should be the afternoon game there, the late game on Saturday. I like that we get multiple days of football on the weekend because there's not a Wednesday game, a Thursday game, 2 Monday games. I'm good with
Mhm.
2 games on Saturday and a full slate on Sunday. I kind of like the way it fell out.
Yeah, that kind of works out nicely. Without having college football playing on Saturdays too, it gives you that feel, and not having multiple games during the week as well keeps football to a weekend thing. I really do enjoy that. It's going to be interesting to see who ends up starting on the Browns. I definitely agree with that. It's going to be it's going to be interesting to see what they can do there. But I mean, realistically, I would love to see the Browns and the Ravens have a strong game. Divisional games are always tough. It's never easy. I would love to have them see them play a strong game. I think right now Winston is questionable, so they'll end up starting Bailey Zappi. If not, if Dorian if DTR is healthy, and Winston's out, the DTR starts. If DTR
Yeah,
is a scratch, then Bailey Zappi, who was a quarterback in New England, so it's not like he's some rookie. Um, you know, he's not going to be he's definitely not great, but it'll give him a chance to show that he's worth keeping on the roster.
on a team where there's not a whole lot of sure things for the roster.
Honestly, Deshaun Watson should be gone. Jameis Winston should be playing somewhere else for a team that needs a quarterback who can throw and get him some protection. And realistically, the Browns could be looking for their next quarterback right now after the season. So we'll see how that works out.
Panthers Falcons. This is a de facto playoff game for the Falcons. They have to win and get some help. I wish that the Falcons were playing the Bucks here, but we can't get everything we want, so we will have to settle for the third string wide receiver that plays wide receiver one for the Panthers and a hodgepodge mix of other backups and Panthers general starters. I'm not super excited for this one, but I do like the idea that the Panthers can jump up and just completely ruin the Falcons' day here. Just not sure it happens.
I don't see it happening either. I mean, especially since their workhorse is gone. With no Chuba, like, what's the point? Realistically, you had some good things happen this season. Um, Honestly, I was rejuvenated with my. I thought that Bryce Young was a significantly better quarterback than what people were giving him slate for being in that organization. And I think after being benched, he really was like, "Oh, really? This job is not guaranteed to me. Well, let me show y'all that I actually belong in the NFL. I belong being an NFL quarterback." And doing it with no help because the Panthers over the past few years have basically given away all the wide receivers for peanuts. So I would expect that that after this year they have some real soul searching to do to find some guys for him to throw the ball to. Chuba Hubbard is a good running back. There's no doubt about that. You don't have an issue with that position. You got some issues with a lot of other positions, but receivers, all of them are gone. So you really need to pick up some good receivers. And they got some things to work on, but overall, I like it. And I'm thinking ATL Kirk is showing up for this game. It's at home. At the end of the day, like the Falcons can get the win. They can really put the sting on and put the pressure on the Bucks to do what they need to do to close it out as well.
I mean, I don't think like I was excited to see Blackshear because he looked really good to me in spots filling in, and then he got to play a whole game and he did not look good. And it's not like the Bucks defense is anything special. So yeah, I think this is just going to be a rough day, a rough 60 minutes for the Panthers. Hopefully they can have a really quick game, burn the clock down so they don't have to suffer anymore.
Rushing, just Atlanta can keep Bijan on the field. That's what they're gonna need. That's what they do it.
Obviously, Penix, I want to see something from. This is a good spot to like kind of end the year, and
not you did look. If Kirk is healthy, Kirk is playing. Penix ain't
there's
touching the
no
ball unless they're
way.
up out
There's
there.
no way.
Look, I'm looking right now, man. I don't see. I don't. They don't have him listed as out. They don't have him.
He
Listed as
wasn't
out.
injured last week. He just sucks.
I don't disagree with you, but if you tell me right now, with a chance to make the playoffs, win your division, you're gonna start Michael Penix, you start Kirk Cousins, and 99 times out of 100, you're gonna start Kirk Cousins.
They benched him to
I
play
understand they
Penix. I don't
benched him.
think
I understand. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'd rather see Penix play, but I'm not. I don't see how if you are you run an organization, you're gonna go to in this spot. We're talking about, by the way, playing against the Panthers. We're not talking about playing against a team with a better defense. Let Kirk Cousins whoop their ass because he should. Let them whoop their ass and go into a chance to make the playoffs with confidence. Benching them last week says, "Hey, dude, look, just because you got this contract doesn't mean you're infallible. We are not going to be an organization that just caters to you. You got to play out. You got to go out there. You got to play football every week." Now he's got the message. Bring him in against a Panthers team that's very weak, missing pieces, closing out the season, and let him go into and then let the Bucks. Obviously the Bucks. You want to see the Bucks lose this game, but if I'm them, I think that's a good move. I think that they're probably going to start Kirk.
Dude, there's a 0% chance that Kirk Cousins starts this game.
Okay.
0. There's no way.
Okay. You're acting like quarterbacks in the NFL haven't gotten benched 1 week and then come back in the next week and played.
I mean, they didn't bench him for the week. They benched him for the season. They're like, it's time to move on. We're going to Penix. There ain't no way.
Okay.
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see on Sunday.
I'm not taking. I don't know if I'm taking Michael Penix. And don't get me wrong. I'm a Penix fan. That was my guy. But it's not like he won last week. And you take Penix.
But they're not playing to win. I think they're accepting that they're out of the playoffs. Why wouldn't you be
playing to win with the Chiefs? What do you mean? Why they're not playing to win?
Because the Bucks are going to beat the Saints.
That's an expectation that you have.
The Falcons made the choice 2 weeks ago that they weren't going to make the playoffs.
You're not making it running an NFL organization.
Neither are the Falcons.
There's no way you're running an NFL organization and telling me that you're going to start a first-year quarterback in week 18 with the chance to win a division and make the playoffs. There's no way in hell.
If Kirk Cousins plays one fucking snap, I will come on here and eat crow. They're done with him. He's not playing. Penix plays every snap of this game.
Okay.
There's no way.
I'll take a shot on that.
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take a shot on Michael Penix playing every snap at quarterback.
I don't want the last play in the fourth quarter. He comes in for a kneel down.
That's not what I want to hear. Nope. You said he had to play every snap.
Penix plays every single snap in this game.
Okay.
Kirk Cousins might not even be the QB 2.
Okay. I will gladly take the shot.
Speaking of quarterbacks that don't matter, Commanders, Cowboys, do we have to talk about this game?
Whoa. So many quarterbacks matter in this game. What are you talking about?
There's one quarterback that matters in this game, and he might not even play.
Cooper Rush is playing for a job.
Oh, my God.
And if you're the Commanders, I think do you want to win this game? Do you want to stay in the 6?
I don't think the Packers can jump them, can they?
Yes, they can. So the tie. It's a tie. They are both tied right now. The Packers, the Commanders on the tiebreak. If I'm not mistaken. So if they win and the Commanders lose, Commanders move to 7.
I think I'd rather be the 7.
Well, are you sure? Do you want to be the Commanders playing against the Eagles at home after you did beat them in that game where their quarterback went down? But
I think I'd rather have the Eagles than the Rams.
I don't know.
Is what's his name? Is Hurts going to be ready? If Hurts isn't playing, I want the Eagles right now because you have to get through them eventually.
Of course, if the Hurts isn't ready, you want the Eagles right now. Especially, but realistically, I don't know, man. If Hurts isn't playing, yes, I'll take the Eagles right now, no problem. But if Hurts is playing, and Saquon coming off this game where he might, honestly. I think that they might let him get it. I think they might let him get the record depending on how easy the Giants are. If he comes out in the first drive and puts up like 25 yards in the drive, they let him get the 100 yards. If the Giants are stacking the line and it looks like Saquon might get injured, they're done. They're gonna let it go. But I think he's gonna try to. I think he should try for it. But coming off that game, if the Eagles come out and just pummel and coming into it. You really want to play against them or the Rams? I know the Rams are hot right now. They're actually putting it together.
The Rams are no cakewalk. I don't think I'd want to go to the West Coast. I don't know.
Play in Philly or play in LA in nice temperate weather.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is if the Cowboys are going to lose this game regardless. I think the Commanders' backups are better than the Cowboys. You don't have CeeDee Lamb. Name another wide receiver. It doesn't matter. They just cut Zeke Elliott so he can quote sign with a playoff team.
Oh my God, he's trash.
And Cooper Rush doesn't even Dak Prescott makes Cooper Rush look good. It's insane to me that the Cowboys are so well liked by so many people because they are awful.
It's not amazing to me because at the end of the day, advertising matters,
True.
right? The Cowboys have did in the '90s. The Cowboys had the greatest advertisement of all time.
Well, I guess now with the move to digital advertising, it doesn't matter that Cowboys fans can't read.
That's true. And everybody still wants to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Why? Because in 1995, 4-6 or whatever the hell they were actually, when they were actually a decent team, they had those stupid ass uniforms with the tassels and shit hanging, with the fray hanging from them, and that became the gold standard. Meanwhile, they also had a distribution. They had a distribution, a national distribution, which is why people became Cowboys fans. That's it. That's all it comes down to.
Well, hey, while we're on the topic of fan bases who don't make any sense at all, Bears Packers to close out their season. The Packers could use a win here. I kind of hope the Packers pummel the Bears.
That's what you know what? I'm not disagreeing with you. Here's my thought. If you're the Packers, do you want to face the Raiders, the Eagles, or the Rams? So basically, you want to face the Eagles regardless. Any team you're saying should be wanting to face the Eagles over the Rams right now. Because
Yeah, I think so.
so
Which is
then both
crazy to
teams.
say, but I mean, Hurts is either not playing or coming off of time off, right? So like with how the Rams are playing right now, I think I want the Eagles. You could score on the Eagles. You do have to stop Saquon, and that's not an easy thing to do, but
You can score in the Rams as well, sir. You can score in the Rams as well. As a matter of fact, you can score more in the Rams. Eagles secondary is much better than the Rams. Eagles D line is much better than the Rams, especially with that, especially with minus Aaron Donald. This is and we're talking about just defense versus defense. That's it. Now, mind you, a healthy Eagles team can put up points on you. Same thing with the healthy Rams team. Rams are getting it together right now. They look real hot. But if you're telling me that I get to play against the Rams in LA in temperate weather, or I have to play in the cold against the Eagles, I mean, and Jalen Hurts is healthy, I'm playing against the Rams. I'm taking that Rams
yeah.
defense over the
I
Eagles
guess for me
secondary.
it's like if you have to go through the Eagles, if you have to beat the Eagles eventually, I'd rather take a shot
In the first
right
round,
off the bat. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. That both teams want to win.
Because the
Actually,
Packers
both
play
teams want
better
to
in
lose.
the cold.
So then, if you're the Packers, you take the L. You don't want the win.
There's no way the Packers take the L. They might be given one. That
Give it
doesn't
out.
seem
All
likely
right.
either, but there's no way they lose this game on purpose.
All right.
But
Just
I
say the
hope they beat
word.
the Bears soundly. I hope they embarrass the Bears because
I would like to
this
see.
organization needs to be purged.
I would like to see Caleb Williams have a good game. I'm not saying that I want to see a lot from the organization. I think him having a good game. I think just having that sense that this season is somewhere for us to grow from. I know they already expected that to be the case, but it would be nice for him to close out the season like that.
He's had a good year. He's a caretaker quarterback. I mean, he's a game manager. But it was a good year, 3,500 yards, and he'll end up with 20 touchdowns and 6 picks and
Absolutely,
throwing 87%. Like that's
very good.
good.
It is good, and to close out beating a playoff team in your division would be just that cherry on top. That says we need pieces, not we need to gut everything. It's not whether or not Caleb just had a good year. It's whether or not the Bears had a good season, or at least had progress in the season from what they should be. Realistically, yeah, they did have progress. But I would like to see I would like to see Caleb have a good game. I would also love to see my guy, my running back, who Josh Jacobs has been a guy who I really appreciated when he was playing for the Raiders. I'd like to see him have a good game out there. Just I'd like to see a good football game. Divisional matchup should be a good football game, especially ones that close out the season.
I've got Caleb Williams with a better next 2 seasons than Brock Purdy.
Ooh, okay. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think so. I can't say that I agree with
You
that.
watched the game last night?
Look, we're talking about. I did not watch the full game last night, but we were talking
His
about
reads, man. There's something. There's a reason they didn't give him an extension. I won't pretend to know what John Lynch is thinking,
off his
but
rookie
watching
contract.
Purdy play and miss reads and force balls in places in a game that ultimately he should have just been on display on showcase to try to get his contract. I don't think he's it, man.
I don't think that this season is indicative. If we take into account the totality of his work when he's not working with injured players or a cycle of random guys, he's a pretty solid quarterback. This season, and I don't think is truly indicative of what the Niners and how the Niners feel about Brock Purdy. And it makes
His
sense.
stats are fine. I'm not saying the season. I'm saying like watching the game last night, he didn't look
We're talking
like
about
he can win games.
week 17 in a game that doesn't mean anything for the Niners.
But it means everything to him.
It doesn't mean everything to him
It should have, because he's not going
it
to.
shouldn't. It
Every
shouldn't because
incompletion
this
impacts
season
his
is cooked.
contract.
It does not. At this point,
It
this season
absolutely
is
does, because
cooked.
how come he
It
hasn't been
does
signed to an
not.
extension?
Why
It's
would you
because the
give him an
49ers don't
extension based
want
on
him.
everything else? I don't agree with that. You got to look at the totality of the season, sir. And once the 49ers were out of playoff contention, Brock Purdy's not playing for a contract at this point because they already know that they have so many pieces that are just that were just not in play for this whole season. You want to talk about mid next season? That's going to be my indicator for him. Mid next season, if he's got a healthy team and they look a lot better in the West next season, you'll be eating your words. But I cannot tell you that in week 17 and week 18 of a season that is cooked for him, that him and everyone else on their entire team has been injured, that he should be playing for a contract. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That is not a good indicator of an organization, especially one who has been very well managed. That would be a terrible indicator. I would not say that at all. The last two games of the season don't mean shit for the 49ers. Nothing.
Then,
And the
then why
best thing
play
they
the
can do is get
starters?
guys healthy. Get
Why
guys
bother?
healthy. Get guys healthy.
No, why risk what could be your franchise quarterback in a game? Doesn't matter unless you're not convinced that he's the franchise quarterback.
Football's got to get played.
You
This
could do
isn't.
that
We're
with
not talking.
scrubs.
We're not talking, Rick. We're not talking about a bottom tier team with a really good quarterback or a top tier team with a quarterback who's injured. We're talking about a team that is good, but still obviously needs to get things to go right for them. And we're talking about a lot of injuries that happen this season. I'm still going to play Brock Purdy as he is the best chance for my team to win. At the same token, I'm not expecting that this game every week is not an indicator of whether or not Brock Purdy deserves a contract extension at this point in the season with how things have already gone. It just doesn't. You can't really look at those two. You can't look at those right now. These last two games don't mean anything, but you still want him to have. You still want to keep his confidence up. You still want to make sure that he's hit. Realistically, Brock Purdy making reads and throwing to those other guys is more of an indicator of who those other guys, whether or not those other guys are going to be around next year. He's not going anywhere. Dude already made a Super Bowl.
And he's also had 2 seasons under 500. 3 seasons now.
Purdy?
Yeah.
3 seasons under 500? No.
Shanahan has 4 seasons making the NFC Championship and 4 seasons under 500.
That's Shanahan. Brock Purdy,
yeah.
What was it last? Brock Purdy was what last?
Purdy's been there since 22.
And
this is his 3rd year.
Yeah, but was he the starter all of 22? No. He was the starter all of last season, if I'm not mistaken. He was not the starter all of 22, if I understand correctly. This is last season he made the Super Bowl. This season he did not. It's a hangover season essentially, and a lot of injuries. There's no way that a guy in his first 3 years, off a rookie contract, and a guy who was at the end of the league, you take and go, you know what? This guy's not getting an extension because everyone else on the team got injured, including him. That's wild. But you're really judging.
I'm saying, watching him play, he looks like he could be the Browns quarterback, not the 49ers quarterback.
Well, right now the 49ers need a lot of people to be healthy. So it don't matter who they got at quarterback if you can't keep anybody else on the field.
It's fair.
Speaking of
Uh,
that, speaking of keeping guys on
yeah,
the
Jesus.
field,
Jaguars, Colts. This is a
uh,
game.
this is
Does
pointless.
this matter at all for
Who's got better?
anybody?
Who's got better? Who's gonna have better uniforms this game? It does. It does matter.
It
It
won't, it
matters.
won't be the Colts.
It matters. It matters for the Jaguars because realistically, they should take this L and just go into the draft and at the lower seed. If they put any effort into this game, they're idiots. Like on the same token, if you're the Colts, I'm still evaluating my receivers. I'm evaluating some secondary, some defensive guys here, but it's not like this game means anything for either one of these teams, with the exception of draft.
What I don't like that the Colts are doing, like now that you can't make the playoffs, there's no reason that Flacco should start, because having Flacco in there tells you absolutely nothing about your team if you're going to run out Richardson. So like they just sign somebody off the street who's a running quarterback with low accuracy, because whatever you see from those wide receivers with Flacco is absolutely meaningless.
You're right, except you're right about if you want to evaluate the receivers against someone whose skill set matches in the same way that Richardson's skill set is. But if you're evaluating the receivers, give them a guy who's more accurate and see if they fucking catch it.
I guess, but that's not the reality of what their games are going to look like.
Look, if I'm looking for receivers, I want guys who can catch the ball and run the routes they're supposed to. If the issue is Richardson not hitting those guys in stride or not hitting those guys at the right spot in the routes, then I have an issue at quarterback that I need to evaluate. But I can only do that if my receivers know what the fuck they're doing. I'm not going to have receivers who aren't running the routes and not catching the ball and the quarterback who's also not hitting them in stride and getting to them. Then either way, I'm fucked. So you know what? Give me Flacco starting. Give me Flacco sitting in the pocket, hitting his receivers, and the receivers dropping the ball. And then you figure out what receivers need to go. You figure out where receivers need to go. You get better receivers in there. They get better route running. Now Richardson can actually hit the guys where he needs to. If he doesn't do that, then Richardson's not my guy. But you evaluate one at a time. And if they're going to already say, you know what, Richardson's going to be our guy next year. Yep. So now we need to hit him, but we want to save him because obviously he had some issues this year with injury. I'm not putting him back in this game. I'm letting Flacco start. I'm not starting Jacoby Brissett. All right. First of all, he already had his chance. I'm not starting him again in this game for no reason whatsoever. At that point, again, you really are just going Alex Moran. Like you're just throwing a guy in there just to close out the season because we have to play football this week. No. Give me a reason.
I want to see more of that.
That's not a thing.
It's Sam Ehlinger, by the way. Sam Ehlinger is the other quarterback.
Is the 3?
Yeah. And Sam Ehlinger's skill set much closer is a match to Richardson.
Well, he'll probably end up halfway through this game anyway, no matter what. So.
One can hope. Bills Patriots. Sean, we've gotten into a couple of yelling and screaming things, but I've got one more for you here. Mm-hmm. The idea of consecutive start streak in the NFL is preposterous. This is the dumbest thing ever. They came out and said Josh Allen's going to play the first snap and then not play the rest of the game. Get out of here with your bullshit, Josh Allen.
I have one issue with your assessment of the consecutive start streak, and it goes based on durability, right? Josh Allen coming in for one drive of this game means he was healthy. It simply means the game was not relevant. So I think.
Well, what does it matter?
What do you mean? What does it matter?
What does it matter?
It matters for his career. What do you mean? What does it matter?
Why? What does it matter for his career?
That he was healthy for the game, and that it mattered to his team. That
no one's going to look. Oh, he only started 16 games in 2024, and they went to the Super Bowl. I wonder what happened week 17. It's preposterous.
You're not wrong. But when you look back at the streak of 50, 60, 70, 80 games that he started, and the reason why he didn't start one game was because Rick thought that the streak is preposterous, guess what? That's not what his career is going to say. It's not going to speak to his longevity, to his durability, to his ability.
It's hubris. He's never going to break the record. What the fuck does it matter?
Isn't the record like 200 or something games?
Yeah, it was like Brett Favre, I think, who just always played even if he was hurt because the guy didn't care. He was busy sending dick pics to reporters. Like, is that
Look,
the record you're gonna break? Like,
if you're Josh Allen, you 100% start this game and sit out like every other fucking quarterback who has been good and has had irrelevant games in their career. Every
I hope
other
he
one does the same.
fumbles. I hope he fumbles the snap.
I have no problem with that. If he comes in one drive, he hands the ball off, and then he goes to throw the third one and he fumbles it. Guess what? He still got the fucking record. It doesn't matter. He still maintains his record of consecutive starts, and it doesn't matter. But realistically, it's healthy, right? That sounds stupid. It's a dumb statistic. It's not relevant. Blah blah blah. What that tells you though is that he was healthy for the whole season. When a player is a healthy scratch in the NFL, it's weird. It's not a normal thing for a player to be a
Not
healthy
when it's an
scratch.
MVP candidate.
He
If
doesn't matter
Saquon
what his
didn't play this
MVP.
week for the Eagles, no one would bat an eye because it's smart to rest your workhorse running back. When you have a giant ass human man who plays quarterback for you and he just revels in slamming his body into other human beings, like, I'm not putting that big dumb idiot out on the field. I just don't want it. I don't want it. If I'm the coach, like, Josh isn't even getting a helmet. He's emergency third quarterback and he's not getting his helmet. I'm holding it with me.
If you don't think that Josh Allen is handing the ball off 3 times and stepping out of the game, or should be handing the ball off 3 times and getting out of the
One
game,
play. Coach said
play?
one play.
Oh wow, yeah. So he's going to hand the ball off. They're not playing the rest of the game. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, he's handing the ball off, and it's a fucking draw. It's a draw from the shotgun. No one's getting close to him, dude. You know what? You know the thing is, Josh Allen's dumbass would try to lead block.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm taking his helmet. He's not getting in the game.
But I love it. I love a quarterback like that. Lamar Jackson running down the field to lead block for his running back or his receiver. The same thing with Josh Allen. Like that's football. You're a football player. You're not that's what you're there for. If the block needs to be made, you make the block. All right, none of that bullshit. Well, I need to make sure to protect my buddy, bro. You make millions of dollars for running to other human beings. You have
Dude, I didn't know you did such a good Patrick Mahomes impression. That was really good. Giants Eagles. They're talking it over internally. I can't imagine that they won't just let Saquon have a crack at this.
They have to.
I hope he breaks the record.
I do too. And the biggest issue is first of all, it's the ultimate revenge game. Period. There's to go from Hard Knock where the team sat in a meeting on record, got it recorded in video and everything, and said, this guy's not worth shit. He's not really worth it. We got this quarterback. We're gonna revamp the offensive line. Blah blah blah. And then to go out and break the rushing record with, by the way, less carries potentially than Eric Dickerson. And I don't want to hear anybody else say it took him more games. Look at the volume of work. All right. Look at how many carries, how many yards per carry. All right. The fact that he didn't play some of the games, it's the same argument that people made for Ashton Jensen, right? For the Heisman. The guy was so good, he didn't play any more football. You put the number of carries against the number of carries, and the true production is what it is. So
Gianti's going to show the whole world in about 30 minutes that he should have been the Heisman.
We're not even going to talk about that because we are Penn State. All right.
God, you really? You're a Penn State guy?
Sir, I grew up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You thought I was?
Oh, you have football camps over there.
I went to school in Philly. They don't play in
it. Eagles will win this game.
The Eagles they might win this game. They might not. It doesn't really matter to them. Honestly, I would love if the Eagles didn't win the game, but Saquon got the record. That would make it better.
What I'm curious to see, I think the Eagles' second stringers are better than the Giants' first team, especially because they'll probably keep most of those defensive guys in there with how they've looked lately. Just let them keep getting some work. The defensive backs have kind of bailed them out in a few spots here over the last couple of weeks. I don't know who the third quarterback is for the Eagles.
It was that young guy who ended up AJ Brown.
Oh, McKee.
Yeah, AJ Brown threw threw his first touchdown into the stands, and then he ended up trading his game jersey, his signed game jersey, for the football.
I think what I'd rather see is Ian Book get some time. Don't play Kenny Pickett. Don't play Jalen Hurts. Split the game. Tanner McKee, Ian Book, get them both some time and just see what you've got, because
Yeah.
I believe Kenny Pickett's on a 1-year deal with them, and Kenny Pickett looked good these last couple games. So I don't know that he'll be back with the Eagles unless they win a ring.
Mm, the Eagles have
But
had a history of having a backup quarterback, help them win championships. So if you're Kenny Pickett, you're gonna keep your ass where you are as much as you can. And if you're Kenny Pickett, you want to stay in an organization that gives you the best chance to win on a regular basis. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he goes anywhere next year.
Saints Bucks. Mike Evans needs 85 yards. Does he get it?
Yes.
I don't think there's any way in hell that Baker Mayfield does not get Mike Evans to 1,000 yards. I think
It's
he will throw it to only Mike Evans
Mike.
until it's done.
Not gonna lie. However, this game could get away from the Saints really quickly.
Yeah.
If they get up, there's no point in making Baker throwing the ball. I mean, again, I think realistically, Bucky Irving and Rashad White are a solid 1-2 punch at running back, and the Saints defense is abysmal. So if they get up on them and they get up early, maybe he doesn't get the 85. Maybe he only gets 60 or 65.
There's
That
no
would
way.
suck.
If he doesn't have it and it's the fourth quarter, they're not running the ball again. Like, there's no way.
What if they're up by 21 in the fourth quarter? In fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, he's got 65 yards. You think they're going to be throwing the ball?
Baker gave an interview like 6 weeks ago. He was only at like 500 yards, and they're like, "Oh, like what would it mean to get Mike the record?" And Baker's like, "It's more important to me than the playoffs."
Fair enough. I mean, realistically, Mike Evans has just been such a consistent receiver there that, like, to show him that much love is truly special. Realistically, he should have already had it, but we're not going to talk about that. Should have got it. He should have had it earlier.
Yeah, but I think
There's other
Cade
ways.
Otton has like 900 yards and has missed the last 2 weeks. Like, they feed those tight ends. The backup tight end had 100 yards receiving on Sunday.
Yeah, they do. They do a good job of getting the ball to the tight ends. Mike Evans has been that workhorse. Still been there for years. So get that man the ball. Let him get his 85. Let him get his incentive. There's a couple of guys up for incentives this week too.
Oh, week 18's crazy with those.
You hear about the Zach Ertz incentive?
No, but it sounds like maybe we
Oh
need to bet him,
my
huh?
God! Hold on. No. His came last week. His came in the game-winning touchdown that he got. So he had two. He got 250 for the touchdown. He got over 600 receiving yards. So we got another 250, and he got like 60 receptions or something like that. So he again got 250. So he got 750
Nice.
for the catch. On top of that, it was his mom's birthday, and he moved into ninth all time in receiving yards for
Okay.
tight end. Like, it was a special day for him. I'm happy. Shout out to Zach Ertz. All the he was an Eagle. All the love for that guy. Julie Ertz, we love you too. Uh, But yeah, kudos to him.
Uh the Texans, what happened? What happened?
What do you mean what happened? It's been the same thing we talked about all season. They got no fucking O-line.
There's a difference between having no O-line and sucking all year and scoring 0 points on offense.
When you have no offensive line, you don't get out of the backfield when you run the ball. You don't have the time in the backfield to get the ball to the receivers after they made their routes, the route progressions. When you don't have an O-line, you're fucked. The reason why a lot of teams can do running back by committee is because they have an O-line. The reason why some quarterbacks can have 60 65% completion percentage, but realistically only throw 5 to 10 yard passes, you got an O-line. They need an O-line. Point blank period. That's what they bought up next year. They got all the receivers that they need. They've got the running. They got a solid running back. They got a deep. They got the quarterbacks too. They don't have an offensive line.
Really quick. Mike Evans needs 5 catches and 85 yards to hit a $3 million incentive.
Oh, he's getting that. Baker knows
There is not a
he's
chance in hell that he
he's
doesn't
getting
get
10
5 catches for
receptions.
85 in the first quarter.
10 receptions for 86 yards, and then he's coming out of the game.
Titans are going to play both of their quarterbacks in this game. They didn't say how that deployment would look, but they need to see if Will, dude, you might as well just line them up side by side. No, Spears has looked really good. Spears has looked really good with Pollard out. I would just let Spears run Wildcat and let these two dirtbag quarterbacks just fade off into the sunset. Will Levis isn't it. Rudolph, I mean, I don't know why they're even bothering to give him time. Because, like, if your guy next year is Rudolph, your season's over already. So, like, I would just give Levis the whole game and just, like, be 100% sure he's not it. I don't think he is. But, like, I don't need to see anything else from Kyle Rudolph. Or not Kyle Rudolph. Jesus. That was the tight end for the Vikings, right?
Vikings, yeah.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, not gonna lie. I mean, they're both the same guy. Will Levis he ain't it in Tennessee, or maybe Tennessee ain't it for him. But they need a lot of pieces. I can't name a single Tennessee wide receiver at this point. Can you?
Ridley, the guy that bets on sports.
Good Lord. Ridley.
That's the only reason I know. I know more tight ends on their team than wide receivers.
Yeah. So it's great. So that's really my thing is they got a lot of pieces that they need. And this QB battle at the end of the season, like, who cares? If they're gonna play both quarterbacks, it means they want Levis to come in for a couple drives and see if he actually plays decent football, and then they're just gonna bench him again. If he throws picks or if he's inaccurate, he's not looking good, they're just gonna pull him. And Mason Rudolph's gonna play because he needs a job, and he should keep a job. Probably. I don't think he's good, but he'll keep a job. But yeah,
it takes a special kind of player to hold the clipboard in the proper angle. Charlie Whitehurst, man, prototype.
Oh, I got Josh Johnson. There's some guys who's Todd Collins. There are some guys who have very long careers where they didn't play a lick of football in the NFL.
Well, man, how about this next game? How about Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut? He's been in the league for years now. It's like I couldn't have told you he was still in the league. I definitely wouldn't have thought San Francisco came in, scored a rushing touchdown. I mean, the game was over, but he's hanging out, still around. Purdy might not play, so he might get another chance to be a backup somewhere else again.
If you're smart and you're the Niners, there's no reason to play Purdy. I mean, we talked on this earlier, and you talked about how Purdy should be being evaluated for whether or not he needs a contract. No, fucking don't. Let them. They had 4 running backs this season and 8 people who play wide receiver. Like, at the end of the day, you're a quarterback and your job is to get the ball to the guys on your team. But if the guys keep switching every week, how the hell are you supposed to get any consistency? How are you supposed to get any rhythm? Add on to that your injury, your running back being injured, and what do you think is going to happen with the season? There's no way you can have real success in that. So if you're the Niners, you let Purdy sit, you let whoever your 17th string running back is and your backup quarterback go in there, close out the season, and just go into the draft, go into the combine, looking for some pieces to fill out where you have income, where you need gaps, and let your guys get healthy.
Yeah, well, Purdy hurt his elbow. He won't play in this game. I have Dobbs with a higher passer rating than Kyler Murray in this game.
I might actually have to agree with you on that, just because it also doesn't mean anything this means more for Kyler Murray. I think that if you're a team and you're seriously looking at the future of your organization, and you look at how terrible he does on the back stretch of these seasons, the fact that you had to make his contract so that he had to play, he had to study more, and then you watch him just close out the season terribly. Like, what do you do? What do you do if you're an organization?
I don't know. He's owed a ton of money, so you don't have a whole lot of options. No trade value.
I don't know where anywhere else would want him. No, do you want a guy who only plays half the season?
Tennessee.
Tennessee could start a three. Honestly, he'd be a good quarter slot. Now that you run, now you could run a triple option.
Just put him and Spears back there in like a quasi wildcat thing. And then, when the new season of Call of Duty drops, you just go full wildcat.
Boom.
Done and done.
That's it.
Sean, I saved my kicker rant for right now. I'm going to do a show after the playoffs, just kind of recapping kickers for the year.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Moody
here for it.
sucks. And he's just one of many kickers this week and seemingly all season who is completely incapable of kicking the ball.
Yeah,
I don't
they have
get it.
not
I don't
been very
understand it.
active. Honestly, though, that's what the game's about. The game has gotten so much more interesting with kicks. Do you remember how boring kicks were?
True. Yeah, it has been a better viewing experience because you never know what's going to happen.
You never know if they're going to make it. You never know what's going to get blocked at this point. It's like, shit, kicks became so much more important for the game. But that's what it's supposed to be about. I mean, if you get rid of the kicks, then it's rugby.
Yeah, and I guess the 49ers have done it right. I think they've had like 6 kickers this season. I think it's more for injury than,
Yeah.
complete inability to do the one job that you have. But
Kick the ball from the
it drives me
start.
crazy. It drives me absolutely crazy. But I think I like the way you're looking at it. I think I should embrace the chaos and just stop expecting them to be good at their job and then just have fun
Absolutely.
with it.
So for context, guys, Rick runs a um, three-tiered fantasy football league, Q&W. And in that league, we do not have any kickers. And there have been a lot of people who basically said that Rick's got this hate for kickers. But in an evaluation, he basically said, well, the points that the kickers have can be offset by, XYZ. And so it's not the case. However, looking right now at a lot of fantasy leagues, the ones that have kickers especially, you can look and say, holy shit, a good kicker in a league that has kickers means a lot in comparison to what it has in previous years. Having Justin Tucker in previous years basically meant that each week you were going to get solid 10 points. Now you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen any week with a guy like Harrison Butker. You don't know what's going to happen with some of these guys who've been around the league for a while, have been known as very accurate kickers, and now we're seeing a whole different ball game now with the kicks, especially with the kickoff kicks as well. Maybe that's getting into their heads. I don't know. The extra points being moved back made them more exciting and more interesting. Like I think that the NFL has done a good job making kicks more exciting and more significant to the game than they have been in the previous, I would say, 5 years.
Yeah, I'm like blown away. You've given me a new lease on kickers here. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to think about this in a different way where it's not so combative. So, because I love punters. Punters are the best.
Oh, because field position is so important. But in
Love
this
punter.
instance, the same thing
Love
happens
it.
with kicking, right? Now you got guys getting punts, getting kicks blocked. You got kicks missing. Now you got to change this field position entirely. You get a game where a team's down by one, the other team comes down, misses a field goal. Suddenly they only got to go 15. They only got to go 20 yards to get their field goal now to go in the other direction. That's a big deal. How many games this year have ended with a team either missing a kick being blocked, or a team, or late in the game and the ball goes in the other direction, they got to make a kick. Like that's football.
Uh,
That's football.
yeah. Like I said, whole new mindset. I'm just gonna think about it differently. I'm still gonna do the I hate kickers show. That's coming. Watch out for that on
That's fair. That's
socials.
fair.
But
That's fair. It's just gonna be a lot of.
Chiefs Broncos winning in for the Broncos. Am I crazy to think that the Chiefs magic will still apply to their backup players?
Well, of course. How many running
I'm
backs the Chiefs have
terrified.
this year? Four.
I'm terrified.
The Chiefs have four running backs. How many wide receivers do they have this year?
It's not like it matters. Like
And also their backups what Wentz.
I think so.
So are you saying a guy who played in Philadelphia, even though he didn't play under Andy Reid, um, now is actually going to play behind Patrick. Who's been playing behind Patrick Mahomes, who is basically just he's gonna absorb all that Andy Reid magic. I'm telling you right now that this game is gonna be a lot harder game for the Broncos than they realize. And I actually want to see the chaos. I would love to see the Broncos lose. I would love to see somehow there be a chance for Miami or the Bengals to make the playoffs and the Broncos lose
Don't
out.
don't lie to
And
the viewers. You don't want the Dolphins in. I know what you want.
no. Hear me out. Hear me out. If the Dolphins win, two is comeback player of the year. Hands down. You can't go out half dead and then come back and make the playoffs. If you do, comeback player of the year. It just has to happen. All right. If the Bengals win, then it just proves that how good of a quarterback Joe Burrow is in comparison to how fucking terrible their defense is. I would also love to see the Bengals playing in the playoffs and put up 45 points in a playoff game. Think about that, and still lose. It'll be a 50-45 playoff game.
I will not be robbed. I will not be robbed of Super Bowl. Super Bowl going into Buffalo. A rusty Josh Allen. The Broncos score like 45 points on that horrifically bad Bills defense, and we go on a Bo Nix Super Bowl run, baby.
If you think that that's the move, I'm here to tell you that I would rather see the Bengals do the same thing. All right, I think it'd be hilarious. Honestly, I don't think that either one of these teams could beat Josh Allen realistically right now. It's just crazy. But if there's anybody who has the chance to do it, especially in the cold, I think the Bengals.
It's Bo Nix, right? I agree.
No, if Josh Allen loses, it's not Bo Nix. It's the defense. It's that defense, because there's no way in hell that they're not going to. There's no way that if. All right, hear me out.
John Elway had good defenses.
If the Bengals make it, all right, they have the best chance of scoring 30 points. The Broncos do not. And if they score 30 points, it gives them the best chance to beat the Bills. The Bengals can score 30 points easy.
So take the offenses out of it now. The Bills' offense, how many points do they? Okay, yes, they have the best chance to put up 30 points.
Okay.
Which defense has the best chance of giving up 40 points? The Bengals or the Broncos?
Bengals, 100%. But if you want to watch a playoff game, do you want to watch a boring ass playoff game that's 15-17, or do you watch a fucking shootout? Nah, baby, give me
in the snow in Buffalo. Give me the Bills, the Bills in all white, and the Broncos in their throwbacks. Oh my goodness, that's like 80s football, baby.
Give me an air raid. Give me 45-48. Josh Allen with 6 touchdown passes. Give me Joe Burrow with 5 touchdown passes. Like that would be a fun game to watch in the first round of the playoffs.
Now I will say I believe the Bills wear blue at home, which would mean if it's a blizzarding snowstorm in Buffalo, New York, the Bengals could wear the white Tiger uniforms.
Oh, that would be crazy.
It'd be sick. Throw I think they have a helmet shell that's got the white has the black face mask on it, I think.
They would have to wear the helmet color, right? They have the orange helmets.
I don't know. The NFL they have their shells.
There's no way in snow they're gonna let you wear everything white. There's no way they're gonna have a white helmet, white. They don't do it.
But it's not weather designated. It's whatever the rule is. And they've worn the all whites.
They wear alternates when they choose to. Let's be honest. All right. Brazil told the Eagles you can't wear green. You know what the Eagles said? Fuck you, we're wearing green. So what are you talking about, dude? The NFL does what it wants when it wants.
But yeah, I hope that this week, I hope the Broncos wear their throwbacks. Make it feel like a gritty 90s game. Give me the Broncos to narrowly beat the Chiefs backups. Like Chiefs magic expires, and maybe that's what stops their playoff run. Like they have
Broncos win.
Yeah, like they jump on a fumble at like the 8-yard line, but then they miss the field goal, and the Chiefs don't win another game.
Give me. I would love to see the exact opposite. Give me 15-17. Broncos go for a field goal to end the game. Field goal gets blocked.
Oh, God. Doesn't it just
Yeah,
make you
that'd be a great
sick
game
just
to
to
go.
say that?
It is so disgusting to say, and I love it. I love every second of it. If that's how the game ends, that'd be phenomenal.
We got robbed of what could have been another cool game here. Seahawks Rams. The Rams got in over the weekend on strength of
Mhm.
schedule. I did appreciate all the Rams coaching staff and players just acknowledging that, like, hell yeah, we're going to be watching football because if these three teams lose, we're in. And I feel like we don't hear that enough. Of course, these guys read their press clippings. Of course, these guys watch Red Zone. So like hearing from them pretty much to a man that like, well, yeah, we're off on Sunday and we can make the playoffs sitting at home. Yeah, we're watching. Like I really appreciated that. We kind of
That's what
talked about the
football is.
Rams and sorry, go
It's
ahead.
not just a business. I said it's not just a business. That means
It's
you're
like,
a fan. You're a fan too. It's not
yeah,
just a business.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's fun. Like it's supposed to be fun. It's a kid's game, right? Like,
It is
but
just a game.
no, this
Oh,
game essentially meaningless for everyone but Geno Smith. Geno Smith has some contract numbers that he could hit and make some incentives here. I don't know what the Rams will do. I feel like with the injuries you've had, it makes sense to play a quarter, play a half, and just kind of give everyone time together.
I
But
do.
the game is meaningless.
I do have one little question for you though. Do the Rams move? No, they're stuck at three, if
Ooh,
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because who has
what
the
are the Bucks
tiebreaker
at?
between them? Well, the Bucks are 9 and
So the
7,
Bucks will be 10-7, and the
and the
Rams
Rams would
could
also be 10.
fall to 10-7.
So who has the tiebreaker on that? I don't know who has the
That's a good
who has the
question.
tiebreaker.
Talk to me a little bit about this game. I'll see if I can find it.
Oh yeah. Well, realistically, I would love to see Gino just out there. I mean, I like to see him play. I'd like to see them kind of figure out their run game. It, again, was one of those things that I thought was very inconsistent. The Seahawks have some pieces that they can put in place to be a better team next season. And realistically, their division was a lot more tight than I expected this year. The Cardinals came out strong, seemed like they were going to take that division. Rams started off with some issues. Obviously, they had a lot of injuries early on in the season, and once they got back healthy, you could see that pedigree that Matthew Stafford has had for his entire career, even playing for the Detroit Lions when they weren't the good Lions that they are now. You could see that coming back, and people are almost saying that he was cooked, that he was washed mid-season, and now you're like, oh, this is what they got this guy for. And he's never ever really truly down and out. So realistically, if you're the Rams, do you want to win this game? Because I think you kind of do.
If the Rams lose and the Bucks win, they flip.
Mhm.
If the
Ooh,
if the
okay.
Bucks lose, the Rams are the 3 regardless. The Falcons won't come up.
So if you are the Rams, you definitely want to win because you don't want to
You
play
have to.
Minnesota.
You have to win
You
this
don't want
game.
to play Minnesota or Detroit. That's who you end up
Or
playing.
Detroit, right? Either way, it's
Yeah.
not what you're looking
Yeah.
for.
So if you're Rams, you want to win this game. You want to stay at 3. Yeah. So this
So
game
yeah,
matters.
yeah.
This game means a lot more
Rams
than
by
you
21.
realize. Yeah. Well, this game matters a lot more than you realize. Sometimes things like that kind of catch you off guard, but it matters a lot more.
Mhm.
Unlike the next game.
Yeah. Yeah, Chargers Raiders. Uh man. I don't
Realistically,
know
the
what
Raiders
to
will win this
expect
game.
here. I want to say the Raiders will just like win this game in a really meaningful way and just kind of tug on your heartstrings a little bit.
I would love for the Raiders to win this game in every possible meaningful way. Okay? As a fan, there's nothing that would make me happier. It's just crazy because at the end of the day, the Chargers are where they are. If the Chargers win, actually the Chargers could move. Chargers win, Pittsburgh loses, Chargers leap from Pittsburgh. So this game matters to the Chargers too. See, this is the
They actually
biggest
move
thing I
up to
can
the
get.
5?
Yeah, they moved to because Pittsburgh's 10-6, they're 10-6. So if they win and Pittsburgh loses, Pittsburgh goes down to the 6. Chargers move up. Chargers end up
Ugh.
playing. Chargers end up playing the Ravens potentially instead. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise, because Baltimore would only be a 3 or a 5. I think they would own the tiebreak over the Chargers.
It's so complicated. There's
It
just
is, but that's the best part of
so much data.
football. That's the best part of football. So realistically, this game matters for the Chargers. I would love for the Raiders to play spoiler here. I would love for them to win this game in a meaningful way and basically push to keep the Chargers at the 6. Chargers at the
Gross.
6 means they got to play. Oh no, actually, Chargers at the 6 means they play Baltimore. So if you're the Chargers, you want to win this game. You want Pittsburgh to lose because then they end up playing. They end up playing Houston. If you're the Chargers, you definitely play Houston. 100%.
Wow. Yeah, that's the movement. So you win this game. So they're gonna beat the tar out of the
If you're the
Raiders.
Chargers, you have to go. Not only that, but you go into the playoffs hot. You be a divisional team. You go into the playoffs hot, and you can play in Houston. It's not like Houston's a tough place to play.
Yep. I believe that this game only has one permutation. If the Dolphins win, they have a chance
And
to be in.
as long as
If the Jets win, they're stuck with Aaron Rodgers for another year.
oh my god, he's the worst. He's a cancer. He needs to go.
Truly.
Toxic.
So the question is for the Jets, and we did a Jets bets and regrets with Jason a week and a half ago about this. What is next for the Jets? I feel like they have a pretty good team in place. They don't have a leader and they don't have a quarterback.
Well, the goal is to find one guy, get you a man that can do both. Uh, and realistically, they've had issues at quarterback for the entirety of my lifetime. The worst part is that the only guy that I can remember that actually people cared about as a Jets quarterback was Mark Sanchez. They gave him a nickname, Sanchez, even though he played like
Sanchez.
one season. Yeah, that
So
was it.
so small sample size, and obviously he's hurt, but the name I keep coming back to for them is Carson Beck. And you can get him at the end of the second round, so you can take need at the top and or trade back and grab a guy like Beck. I'm not in love with anybody at the top of the draft, especially through the lens of Jets quarterbacks.
Well, Carson Beck has had a million years in college in order to hone in order to hone in his skill set. And I think that realistically, coming from a good school, coming from a play, and it might be tough, honestly, to play. I think the issue the Jets have is that they got their front office sucks. Their front
Well,
office.
it starts at the owner, right? It's Woody
Yeah, their front office
Johnson.
sucks.
So the one thing to
You can
remember about
bring
the
in.
Jets is Jordan Travis is a Jet. They signed Jordan Travis, FSU quarterback, the guy that got hurt after their undefeated season. Jordan Travis might be an NFL quarterback, but the reports are that he is still recovering from his injury.
Mhm.
And who knows, right? Like when you pick quarterbacks at the top of the draft, it's a 50-50 proposition. Is Jordan Travis a guy? But if you're the Jets, like it gives you some flexibility. You don't have to take a guy in the first round. So if you trade back and take what you need, right? Stock up. They're moderately thin at wide receiver. They're moderately thin defensive secondary outside of Sauce ish. So like if you trade back and you do like Jordan Travis and Beck and let them fight it out in training camp, you have maybe one of the most accomplished quarterbacks of his generation and the guy who went 13-0 with a Florida State team that honestly wasn't that good. And so like maybe one of those guys is the guy and you don't have to spend any draft capital to get them.
I mean, that's fair. There's also a couple of guys too, like what do you do in Minnesota? Is Darnold coming back next year? Because he looks fucking
Yeah,
good. Like,
man,
do you keep JJ McCarthy just sitting on the bench for another season if he was supposed to be your franchise guy? And
right. It was like a sure thing he was gonna play.
Mm-hmm. And more, and the argument we just had about Kirk Cousins, if Kirk Cousins win the division this season, do you not think that the organization is going to keep him around next year as their starter? I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah. There's no way that in season number one,
Browns.
Look, there's a lot of places that these guys can go. All right. They're going to end up, the problem is that they're going to end up going to poor organizations or ones that have bad front offices or bad quarterback groups, and it's just not going to help them develop. They need to stay in an organization. If you have the chance, stay in an organization that has a good quarterback room and a good place for you to develop.
I will say though, the Falcons are a bad organization with a bad quarterback room. They wasted a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Which one?
Matt Ryan's a Hall of Famer.
Vic or I was going to say Vic or Matt Ryan.
What's up?
Both.
I mean,
Both.
there's no wrong answer here. I mean, so like the Falcons, it's not like Kirk Cousins to the Browns for like a first, a second, and 3/3. Like done.
Do you
like,
think the Browns are going to take another fat contract after Deshaun Watson?
You think they're not?
I mean, if I'm them, I wouldn't. That sounds dumb as hell. They also aren't they building a new stadium too?
Yeah, I got to look at because like the city voted it down. They put like a law in place when they stole the Browns the first time.
The city limits.
Yeah, like they're not allowed to leave the city without the city's permission, and the city said no. So I haven't followed up on that, but like the Browns are either trading multiple first round picks for a guy like Kirk Cousins, or they're trading up to take Shadur Sanders at number 1 overall. That's the Browns.
You one way or the other, baby. One way or the other.
Last game of the week. The game of the week.
The game of the week. This is the game of
Lions, Vikings.
Game of the year. This is game of the year.
This is for the best division in football. This is for the 1 seed in the NFC. And I really, really enjoy that these are the two teams that play inside. Because there's not an advantage outside of the screaming fans, right? They both play in a dome. They both don't have to play outside. I am hyped for this game.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to come down to whose defense plays better. Both these teams' offenses can score, but if you can stop the Lions from scoring, because we watched that game last night, they were behind, and it didn't matter. They just kept pounding away. Suddenly, the Niners are down. And you're like, how? Only scored 18 points in the third quarter. That'll do it, baby. That'll get you ahead any day of the week. So if you're anybody who's rooting for the Lions or watching the Lions, no, they play 4 quarters of football. They play a full game. There's no starting off early and they play full quarter. They are not dicking around. So this is going to be a really, really good football game. Barring any injuries or anything crazy happening, I'm excited to see, realistically, another 30 to 30 something football game.
This game was 31-29. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I think that this is kind of why we watch football. I'm pretty hyped up to see this one play out. I don't.
The script hasn't gotten written any better.
I don't know who wins this game.
Realistically,
I have this graphic flipped. I apologize. This is at Ford Field.
Oh,
this is Lions home game.
Lions home game, yeah.
There's almost no chance this doesn't come down to the wire for me.
I will say this right now. I'm very, very excited to watch this game because all season, Minnesota has felt to me like a team that wasn't dominant, but was good. Minnesota is the Chiefs. They win games when people don't expect them to. They win games, close games, and they perform when they have to. And vice versa, the Lions have been the Bills, right? The Lions have been beating the shit out of teams every week, putting up 40, 50 points. And so that Bills and Chiefs rivalry that we've been watching over the past couple years, and the way that this season played out, especially too, this feels similar to me. As far as the overall viewing of the organizations. And it just feels like, especially what's supposed to be a rebuild year for the Vikings, and you're
Yeah.
like, well, rebuild what? What are you talking about? But if you look at the Lions over the past, not the Lions, like the Vikings over the past couple of years, they've had some quarterbacks come in there and perform pretty well. So I mean, Darnold was just much better than where he was at.
I mean, 2
And
losses on the year. Vikings and Lions and Rams.
mhm,
That's pretty damn good. The one thing I'd look at if I was the Lions, and I'm sure they have been, right, is I'd be watching footage of that Jaguars game in London because was that a London game? I think it was a London game. That was the 12-7 win.
mhm.
I'd be like, how can I replicate what we did on the back end in that game? Because Jefferson was a non-factor. And he's come on these past few weeks and they've still been in tight games. So if I'm the Lions, I think that's what I'm looking at. But they're down people too. They are hurt everywhere.
And still
So
winning games.
yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think that game of the week doesn't begin to explain
This
what
is
this game here is.
game of
Obviously,
the
the
season.
bye is massive for both of these teams. Not having to play whoever is huge. It's absolutely huge not having to either what would it be? It's the 5. So it'd be the Bucks or the Commanders. Is that what we
I
said?
think it is. I think, well, it
It's like
depends
I don't
on
want anything
how
to do with
they can
that.
move, because they can move, yeah. But realistically, if you're the 4 and you're playing the 5, you're playing Tampa Bay. If you're the 1, you got a week off, and then don't you play the winner of that game anyway, unless one of the other two teams loses? So
Yeah,
realistically, we could see a rematch in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks of this game, or 2 weeks.
yep,
That would be insane. That would be insane.
yep. Or the Packers.
Or the Packers. Like, you never really know, because it depends on how well they do. I don't see the Packers beating the Eagles. I'm sorry. I just don't see it, especially Eagles at home.
That's fair. We have not yet discussed what our shows look like, but Sean, I think I can speak for both of us when we say we will at least do a show for the divisional round.
Agreed.
So we get wild card, divisional round, maybe not the conference finals, but we'll see.
I wouldn't mind. I would like to do a show from the conference finals. We can kind of touch on a few other things that we really haven't gotten a chance to. Kind of, get some perspectives from a few other guys. Maybe even look at what the draft might look like. Look what teams make some off season moves. And, we could touch on a few things. Maybe the show isn't an hour long show. Maybe it's only a half-hour show.
Yeah.
But
Let us
just
know
kind
in
of
the
keep it
comments if
touching
there's
on.
some. Yeah, let us know if there's something you'd like to see. Otherwise, plan to see us next week for wild card round. If you haven't played Chainlink yet, it's our free sports picks game. You're missing out. The perfect time to get in is right now
All right.
because the month's about to roll over. January 1st, everyone starts at 0. So it's the perfect time to get in. Bowl games like crazy.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully you enjoy the final week of the regular season. I know we will. Sean, you have anything else for week 18?
Week 18, honestly, I'm really feeling the slate. I want to hope everybody has a happy and healthy New Year celebration, and I hope obviously I'm a fan of Penn State against Boise State this evening. I hope the Fiesta Bowl goes in their way. But overall, just been a great season, guys. Thank you for sticking with us. Hope that if you haven't watched the pod, that you go back and check some of the earlier episodes, and stick with us moving forward. We really, really appreciate all the viewers and anybody who wants to come check it out. We got it's on YouTube on the Club 602 channel. Please do, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was listening to the audio only feed on YouTube Music the other day, and it's pristine.
I love to hear that. Love to hear
Good
that. Shout
stuff.
out
You
to you
listen
for
to it in
doing
the
all the work.
car.
Shout out to you for all the work. I'm just a pretty face.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I love that line. You know how many people don't know that line?
That's crazy to me because it was like a cultural thing. Like, where have you been?
I don't know, man. TikTok ruined everything, I guess.
That's true. That's why it's getting banned.
We'll see. I hope so. We'll see.
Thanks for joining us, yelling and screaming. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.